Hey everyone, so today let's talk about the Hitler Youth, also known as the Nazi Youth. So the Hitler Youth, also known as Hitlerjugend in German, was a youth-led organization set up by members and leaders of the Nazi Party. Their purpose was to further spread the Nazi ideology and beliefs by ingraining it into the mindset and upbringings of German children, so that in the long run they can replace existing social norms and structures with conformity and loyalty to the Nazi ideology and the regime. Members were aged 10 to 18, Jews were not allowed to join, and beginning in 1931 were split amongst various branches based on age and gender. The youngest divisions were the German youngsters, or the Deutsches Jungvolk, made up of boys aged 10 to 14, and the Young Girls League, or Jungmädchenbund, for girls aged 10 to 14. Then there was the League of the German Girls, or Bund Deutsche Mädel, for girls aged 14 to 18. Within this branch, there was also a section for women aged 17 to 21, called Faith and Beauty, or Glaube und Schönheit, but this was voluntary. Then there was the group officially called the Hitler Youth, which was for boys aged 14 to 18. Now, each branch conducted their own set of activities, but the general theme was that the boys' branches were paramilitary, which means that they did military training, were taught how to use weapons, and pledged to fight for the Nazi cause. In the summer, they also worked on farms and participated in competitive sports. On the other hand, the girl branches were taught how to be future wives and mothers. They learned how to cook, sew, clean the house, and look after their children. They also competed in sports like gymnastics, for example. Regardless of the branch they belonged in, all members wore the same uniform, which looked like this, and were expected to be extremely committed and engaged in the movement, consistently holding rallies, meetings, marches together, which diverted some of their time away from church and school. Okay, so let's analyze this. Now, young people are generally very flexible when it comes to their own beliefs, usually the ones driving changes in society, which could be why the Nazis were keen at immersing them with their beliefs. In fact, Ernst Krieg, a leader in Nazi education, describes them as non-negotiable when it comes to pursuing a, quote, a new nation, a new form of humanity, and a new order of living space. Plus, with less time spent at school and at home, this meant that parents, educators, and religious leaders slowly lost power and influence over the youth. In addition to eliminating individuality, being regularly engaged collectively with the movement was what proliferated and kept the ideology, alongside anti-Semitism, active during the Holocaust and the war. In fact, one of the main groups that participated in the Night of Broken Glass, or the Kristallnacht, was actually the Hitler Youth. On that night in 1938, they looted, smashed, and burnt down over 1,000 Jewish synagogues, homes, and businesses across Germany and Austria. Many Jews were rounded up and sent to concentration camps, while dozens more were beaten and killed on the spot. Today, though, youth movements similar in nature to the Hitler Youth are almost completely non-existent, but extreme ideological and political movements in general are still around. The difference, though, is that there isn't really one exclusively made up of teenagers, for example, and they're instead just incorporated with older age groups within their movement. Still, what will never go away is that children and adolescents will always be the easiest to take advantage of, given the innocence but also gullibility that makes them an easy target in the first place. Okay, so that's all I have to say here. Here are my sources, and I'm signing off. Good night.